Hey guys, it's me, Leaf. So today we're going to be working on a custom plugin I made a little while ago. It's a custom Ocarina of Time plugin where I'll just show you guys what it does. So you can craft the ocarina by doing this in this particular order, and then it makes the mysterious ocarina. And when you right click, it plays the Song of Storms and changes the weather. And then if it isn't raining, it turns it to raining, and if it is raining, then it turns it back. Cool, so that's basically all the plugin does. It's pretty simple, so let's get into how to make this. Alright, let's create a new Java project. Let's name this Custom Ocarina, and let's set this to Java 1.8. It's very important that you set it to 1.8 because that's the only type that most Spigot servers actually accept. So if you export your Java file at more than that, then you're going to have a little bit of an issue. So if you have not made your own Spigot server before, I'm going to put a link in the description below and also have a video card popping up right now in the top right hand corner of the screen, and that will link you to a video I made on how to get a Spigot server running and also how to get this file that I'm about to add. So we need to add the libraries that are required in order for us to use the Spigot API to make this plugin. So let's right click on our project folder and go to properties, and then go to Java build path. Now from here we're going to go to libraries, and we're going to click add external jars. And I have the Spigot 1.16.4 server, and this has the Spigot 1.16.4 jar in it, and that is what we're going to be extending. There's another way we can do this, is if we go into our build tools. We have the build tools, the Spigot 1.16 jar here, and also there is a shaded API in here, and is in the target. Yes, in the target. This is another one to use, but I actually don't prefer to use that. Some people tell you that this is the one you should be using, but I prefer. I've had no problems using this, and I had problems when I used the shaded. So that's just my own experience. I'm not 100% sure on what the differences are, but this is what I use. All right, we're gonna apply and close here, and now you can see in our referenced libraries we have this Spigot 1.16.4 jar. So now let's go into our source folder and create a new package, and we're going to name our package me.leaf. Let's do custom ocarina, and we're going to finish that, and then we're going to add a new class, and then we're going to go custom ocarina main. Great. So we made a new, our kind of like, this is going to be kind of like our main method, but it's not going to work the same way. So we're going to go extends Java plugin. This needs to be imported from or.bucket.plugin.java, and I'm going to be importing a lot of libraries. So I will try to say when I do import something, but if you're using an IDE like me, like Eclipse or Visual Studio Code, it's possible that they will have this like recommended import. But if not, if you don't want to use an IDE, you just want to use a text editor or whatever, you can do this import statement. You can just write it in at the top of the page. All right, cool. So we're going to make the two methods that we need on every single Spigot Spigot plugin. Do add override, and we're going to do public void on enable. And then we're going to do add override public void on disable. Great. So this method right here gets run when we enable the plugin on the server, and this gets run when we disable the plugin. So typically, most simple plugins only use the onEnable method to instantiate some things, and then the onDisable, more complicated plugins might do some stuff on the onDisable. Today we're only going to use the onEnable, but we need both of them. All right, cool. So the other thing we need is we need our plugin.yml, which is a necessary text file in all Spigot plugins. And basically the purpose of this is to tell you where the main file is, and also get some other information about the plugin. So we're going to create a new file, and we're going to create it in here. Oops. We're going to create it in custom ocarina. Oh, actually, no, I should have just done this. New can't just do text file? What the heck? We're not gonna make it. Oh, I just do here. Okay. Plugin.yml. That was dumb. All right, I'm gonna make this right here, and then we are going to just go OK. But there's really no extensions for this. So in our plugin.yml, we're gonna need some stuff. We're gonna need, first of all, to put where the main is. So we're gonna do this. The order at which you, or not the order, but like the formatting of the plugin.yml is very important. So don't add extra spaces or add extra tabs or anything like that, because that might throw it off. So we're going to do a colon after this, and then a space, and then we're going to do our path. So we're going to do b.leaf.custom ocarina .custom ocarina main, and then we're going to enter. Then we're going to do the name of the plugin, ocarina. Then we're gonna do the author, which in this case is me, and you guys can do it yourselves. So version, we're gonna do 1.0. This is the version of our plugin, not the version of Minecraft or the version of Spigot or anything. This is the version of our plugin. So this can be literally whatever you want. So I can do 6.0 if I really wanted to, but I'm just gonna leave it at 1.0. And then we're gonna do the API version because we are interacting with items. So we need to specify what version of Minecraft we're using. And we can just do 1.16. We don't have to put in the .2 or .4 or anything like that. It's just 1.16. Great. So our plugin.yml is all done. If we had custom commands in this plugin, we'd have to add that here as well. And there's some other stuff that gets added into that. But for the purpose of this plugin, we're completely done with that. So let us build the ocarina. Public shaped. We're going to make a new method here that returns this thing called a shaped recipe, and let's just call it build ocarina. So what is a shaped recipe? This is information to make a recipe for a custom item in Minecraft. So we're going to import shaped recipe from org.bucket.inventory, and this needs to return a shaped recipe. So we're just going to get an error here for a little bit. Okay. So what's the first thing we're going to do? We are going to create our custom item. We're going to create this ocarina. We're going to call it the mysterious ocarina. So we're going to make an item stack, which is another thing we're going to have to import. We'll call it ocarina. We'll set this equal to new item stack. And then we're going to make it the material of prismarine shard. And the reason I chose prismarine shard was because to me it looked the most like an ocarina. There's other items in Minecraft that kind of look similar. So we're going to import item stack from org.bucket.inventory. So now we have a new variable called ocarina, which is set to a prismarine shard. Now we're going to change this around a little bit. We are going to make it glowy. We're going to make it enchanted. So let's just do an enchantment in Minecraft that doesn't have any effect on a prismarine shard. So we'll do this. We'll do ocarina.add unsafe enchantment. And then we're going to make it enchantment .mending, and then we're going to do the level to like 1 or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Great. Now we're going to do this next thing, which actually affects the meta of the ocarina. The meta is pretty much all the information made around the ocarina. So this includes its display name, its lore, its lore is that little text below the display name when you hover over it. It's also going to affect, let's see, what else can we change? We can change some flags and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things we can change. We're just going to change. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do item meta, ocarina meta, set this variable equal to an item meta. And we're going to set this, let's do this, new item meta. And then we're going to set this equal to ocarina.getMeta, get item meta. So what this does is it just creates a object of type item meta, and it sets it equal to the exact meta that ocarina.getMeta would. Oh, actually, no, we don't really need to do this. Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking here. That was dumb. All right, so this is just sets ocarina meta to the current meta of ocarina. Now we can change that around, and then at the end we're going to reset Ocarina, the Ocarina variable, it's an item stack variable, to the Ocarina meta after we finished coding it. So Ocarina meta dot set display name. We're going to change this display name, and we're going to make it look nice with chat colors. So chat color dot dark purple. I like dark purple. And we're going to say, we're actually going to make this bold as well. Oops. Mysterious Ocarina. Great. Now, Ocarina meta dot set lore, and this takes a if you want multiple lines of lore like I want in this particular scenario, it takes an array of strings, or like a list of strings. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the arrays class dot as list, which is this method just returns things as a list of arrays. So we're going to do the first parameter as chat color dot aqua, and we're going to do plus chat color dot italic, and then we're going to do a little help, a little like tooltip kind of thing. Right click to use, and then the second parameter we're going to put in there, the second array I should say, part of the array, is going to be chat color. Oops, why does it do that? Dark purple plus epic item. Actually, we don't need to do this thing here. Great. So now we have all this working out great, and we're going to do one last thing to it in the item meta in order to make it look better. We're going to do Ocarina meta dot add item flags, and the thing we're going to do here is we're going to item flag dot hide enchantments. So this makes it so it won't display mending anymore. It'll just be glowy and won't display mending. So then we're done with all of our meta, and we're going to do Ocarina dot set item meta, and then we're going to set it to Ocarina meta. All right, easy enough. So now we actually have all we need for the meta. So the item is completed, kind of. We actually still need to add the event that actually does the thing, but the item looks the way we want it to look. Now we need to add the shaped recipe, and this shaped recipe is actually what we're going to be returning in this method when we run it. So we're going to do this. We're going to do shaped recipe equals a new shaped recipe, and then it needs shaped recipe requires a key. So this is going to be like the name of the recipe and also the item it returns. So we're going to do new namespace key. Oops, I put a capital on the S. Kind of keep forgetting that that's one word, namespace. This comma mysterious ocarina. And that can be whatever you want, that key, by the way. And then we're gonna also pass it ocarina, which is the custom item we have. Great. So now we need to import namespace key from org.bucket. And now we have our shaped recipe actually done. So now we just need to set the recipe. So the way we set the recipe is not super complicated. Recipe.shape, and then we're going to pass it 3 strings. Wait, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the way that this little API thing works is each one of these parameters is a line in the crafting table. So this is the first 3 rows, or this is the first 3 things in the first row. This is the second 3 in the second row, and then so on and so forth, right? So the way we actually do this is if we wanted to make an item be displayed at one spot, we add a little variable name here. So this would add a item. We haven't actually told it what item this is. This p variable here is, but at the top middle spot in the crafting table. It's not super hard to comprehend. So I'm going to actually make it the way I made it earlier, where I put a b here. So three spaces, except no, 2 spaces and then a b. And then I'm going to make it the prismarine shard. I'm going to do p for that, and then h for heart of the sea. And then leave the bottom blank. Then we're going to actually set these variables. So recipe.set ingredient. We're going to set the key. So the first one is going to be b, and we're going to set this ingredient to material dot water bucket. Material.water bucket, and then oh, do I shift use single quotes here? I do, because it's a char. I forgot about that. My bad. So yeah, you have to do single quotes there because it is a char that it takes. So recipe.set ingredient, comma, or not comma, a little single quote, p, and we're going to set p to a prismarine shard, so material.prismarine shard. All right. Recipe.set ingredient. I'm going to do h, and we're going to set this equal to a heart of the sea, so material.heart of the sea. Great. And then we're going to return. We're actually going to return recipe, which is that shaped recipe. So now we have returned. Oh, one last thing we need to do is we need to, in here, is we could do bucket.add recipe, and then we pass it build ocarina. So that runs that method and returns recipe. So hypothetically, we could have done this whole thing up here, but I like to make it look clean with the methods. You know, most people tell you, you know, the easier your code is to read, the easier it is to debug, the easier it's just much better if you make a separate method for this. Great. So now we finish our shaped recipe, our build ocarina method, which returns that recipe, and that recipe will return that item. So now we actually need to add the event. So events in Spigot API are pretty easy to deal with as well. So the thing we're going to do is we're going to make an event handler. And this event handler, well, actually, we should do this first. Implements, not a capital I, implements listener. And then we're going to import listener from org.bucket.event. Make sure you import this listener. It's a different listener than in other libraries. So this listener is specifically for Spigot. So this listens to whenever there's an action and checks to see if the action done on the server is an action that we want to handle. So in this case, we're actually going to handle a, well, we'll see. Public void use ocarina is going to be the name of it, but it's going to be a player interact event. And I'm going to call it, oh, I did that wrong. Interact event. And I'm going to call it event. And we're going to need to import this player interact event from org.bucket player. Great. And we're in this event here, we call it event, and we also need to import event handler as well. You need event handler above any handler, any listener that you need, any interact event, I should say. So whenever a player right clicks or left clicks with anything in the game, it's going to run this. It's going to fire a version of this. So we actually have to make sure, we have to specify to make sure it's the kind of action we want. So the first thing you're going to do is if event.getHand equals equipment slot dot offhand. If they use the offhand to call this, we're just going to return. So nothing's going to happen. So we don't want it. So you can't use the ocarina in your offhand. For those of you who are new to the newer versions of Minecraft, offhand is something that it got added a little while ago. I stopped playing Minecraft a little while ago, but I got back into it when I realized Spigot coding is a thing, and offhand came back in like 1.12 or something like that. So yeah, so we have to handle that offhand. If you're making something in 1.8 or 1.9, I believe, I'm not 100% sure on that, but you won't need to specify this. So if event.getAction dot equals action dot right click air, or, which is those two slashes, that's the or thing, that's the or syntax in Java. Event.getAction dot equals action dot right click block. So you can right click a block or the air, it doesn't matter. The only thing we care about is whether you're holding the item or not. Then we're going to go into this little thing. We're going to let's set player equals event dot get player, and we're going to import player from org.bucket.entity. Now, one thing I will say here, when we try to actually find the item, if somebody right clicks and they have nothing in their hand, it's null. Like, it's not something we can easily handle if they right click with nothing in their hand. So the easiest way for us to handle it is for us to create a try catch statement. And we're going to catch, the thing we're going to catch is null pointer exception. And we're not going to do anything with this. We're not going to actually we're not going to do anything if we catch the exception. It's just going to be done. So now we're going to do pretty much the rest of our code inside this try catch statement. So what a try catch statement is you try to do this line of code if you encounter an exception, which is kind of like an error, but it doesn't break your code necessarily. It's hard to explain in the scope of this video. But if it throws an exception, in that case, we're going to handle the exception, and we can choose what we want to do with it. In this case, we're going to do nothing. But this is a really important Java concept. It's super, super useful. It's you use it constantly. Trust me, when you want to make really, really good code, it's such a helpful tool. So if player.getInventory.getItem in main hand .getItem meta .get display name .equals, I know that's a lot, this is a lot, we're going to set this equal to the display name we have up here. So let's copy and paste this. If it's equal to mysterious ocarina, then we're going to do this. So I'm going to copy and paste this because it's actually a lot of typing. But this took me the longest to make out of all the we're going to import sound here. And we're also going to import thread. Oh, interrupted exception. We have to throws interrupted exception. Right? Oh no, we have to do it on the actual method. My bad. I keep forgetting Java syntax, to be honest. I don't do it like a ton. So I pretty much only use Java for Spigot stuff. So I keep forgetting the exact syntax. But basically, throws the interrupted exception is an exception that we need in order to do this thread.sleep here. The thread.sleep, this actually just stops the code for a certain period of time. In this case, we're doing 150 milliseconds. So, no. I think it's, I'm actually not sure how exactly long it is. I just kept putting in numbers until it sounded right. So this plays the melody here. So the way that this works right here is, we're going to play sound at the current location of the player. And the sound is going to be a note block harp. And then this is the volume. and then this is the pitch. So we warp the pitch around in order to get the right notes that we want, just like music, right? So there's no guide on how to get an A or how to get an F, you know. So I actually had to just listen to each one over and over again and figure out the right pitch. This took so long, so that's why I'm not going to type it out. But this is the right thing and close to the right timings too. I tried to get the timings right, but it is what it is. This is about as good as I feel like getting it. So then what we're going to do is we're going to switch. We're actually just going to type it out. So if player.getWorld.hasStorm, if it has a storm, we're going to set it to no storm. Player.getWorld.setStorm to false. Easy enough. If player.getWorld.hasStorm, yeah. If player.getWorld.hasStorm is equal to false, that's why we had the little exclamation point here. In that case, we are just going to set it so it does have a storm. Set storm to true. Great, and that's all. And we're just going to return here. Yeah, we don't need to return. You know, it's done. Great. So that's all the code that we need in order to run this. So here I'm going to show you guys how to actually get this running on your Minecraft server, or on your Spigot custom Spigot server. So once you file save all, in that case we have this code. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. I need to actually add the listener in the on enable. So we have to do get server dot get plugin manager dot register events, and then we're going to do this comma this, because typically we do this for the second parameter, but the first parameter is the location of where the event handler is. Alright, I found another error in the code. This H here was lowercase. This needs to be an uppercase H. Anyway, so I'm going to file save all and then recompile and then reload the server. So I'll see you guys in a second. And everything works out great. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video. If it did help you out at all, or you enjoyed this kind of content, please leave a like. It helps me out so much. If you're interested in Minecraft Spigot API,